Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone here today. Now call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This announce your cell phones, please. Ms. Siddles, have a roll call, please.
Mayor Plummer.
Here.
Commissioner Brooks.
Here.
Commissioner Fields.
Here.
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Withrow.
Here.
We have a quorum and ready for the transaction of business.
Ms. Milton?
Thank you, Mayor. That brings us to item number 4, approval of the minutes. The first one we have is for the March 28th regular meeting. Are there any comments or revisions to the minutes as presented? If not, I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B is for the workshop session on March 28th. That was the strategic planning workshop. Are there any recommendations for revisions to those minutes?
Move we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to number 5, ordinances. We have the second reading of ordinance 2023-2, which is relating to the supplement to the Code of Ordinances. Brian, did you want to talk about this one?
Sure, and this, as you know, we have to periodically adopt when all the ordinances are published. This is actually just one line of one ordinance that set a fee schedule that was not included online. So American Legal has already fixed that. We just need to have this ordinance adopted approving that. So we just need a motion and a second and a vote, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Stephanie, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Commissioner Fields.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Withrow.
Yes.
Mayor Plummer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
That brings us to consent agenda. We have 5 items, items A through E. Is there any items that any other commission would like removed to talk about separately? Hearing none, I just want to make note on item D, the Board of Appeals. That is we will clarify the title, that is the Board of Assessment Appeals. So that is related to the tax assessor's office, the property value assessor's office. So just want to make sure that was very clear about what that appointment was.
I would move we adopt the consent agenda with that correction.
Thank you, sir. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to our regular item. Item A is Municipal Order 2023-16, excuse me, related to the sale of our electric franchise. This is one that we've had a workshop on. We've had multiple discussions. We've adopted an ordinance related to establishing this. The consensus was that we were looking for a 7-year time frame. What that did was that aligned our schedule with the rest of our franchise agreements. And the goal was to get to the 3% rate that we see as kind of the industry standard. But in order to make sure it was implemented in a way that is mindful, it would step and tier in. So it will go to 2%, and then after 2 years, 2.5%, and then after another 2 years, it'll go to 3%. So that is the way it's currently structured to be before you today. And I'm going to turn it over to Brian for some of the rest of the discussion.
So as you all know, you've been through this bidding of the franchise before. You literally do bid it out. This is a non-exclusive franchise, but at this time, other than the city, there's only one other electricity provider within the city boundaries, which is KU. So KU did respond to the RFP for bids, and as you all had previously authorized, Janie and I had a lot of discussions. I had a lot of discussions with Ms. Judd, who's one of their in-house attorneys, and reached agreement except for one small phrase, which I don't think is significant based on the current status of the law, but it could be, and I'll highlight that for you. But it largely tracks the foreign franchise agreement that is already in place with Columbia Gas and with the cable entity. There are some things that are specific to electric providers and some things specific to KU. that are in here. So what the direction that you all had previously given was to take this to a 3% franchise fee. That's across the board. As you know, the current status is it's some revenue, some provider classes are subject to the fee and others aren't, and that fee is spread out across everyone. So because that's going to be a bit of a bump, this is going to be phased in. So upon, I think what's going to be basically be the May billing cycle, the fee will be at 2% and will stay that way for 2 years until 2025. And then it will raise to 2.5% for 2 more years, and then upon May 1, 2027 goes to the full 3%. So that was your all's direction, was to go to 3 but not go to 3 immediately, to kind of phase in that. So that is noted in Article 7. Several other things in here that we've worked with KU on, and the last point that I'd referred to earlier where I just couldn't reach an agreement with their attorney, but as I said to them, it's your all's decision to make, and this is probably not an issue that comes to fruition. But what KU had requested and had represented that is kind of their standard language in all their franchise agreements is that the franchise fee is to be paid only as long as the Public Service Commission allows the franchise fee to be passed along to the customers. We can debate about what the law is. I think there's almost no chance that the PSC is going to take away that ability. So this is lawyers arguing about what language is in the best interest of their client, and I'm here to protect you all. And I don't like the language, but frankly, I think it's a minuscule chance that this would ever come about. So KU's position is if they can't pass the franchise fee along, they don't owe it. I don't think that's Kentucky law, but we don't have to agree on that and still be friends and still reach an agreement. So that's all okay. I did, however, put that in the order, and you'll see that's the 4th whereas clause, and I think I need to fix the spelling of whereas there. But I noted that that's section Article 7, parentheses C, but that the city is willing to accept those terms, and just that upon renewal upon the reissuance of this in 7 years, just that's a note to whoever's in my seat and in your seat and all of our seats, and maybe we're all here in 7 years. Just a reminder to look at this language again. So with that, I think we've worked really hard and worked in collaboration with KU to reach this agreement language. I think it accomplishes what you all set out to in terms of fee as well.
And we do have representatives from KU here if you guys have any questions for them today as well.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate the work you did. I know we've been down the road with KU for years and years and years, and little things like this is what's got us in some of these situations. But you just never know with the legislature what could happen. But if this is what it takes, I think we need to move forward, and I'm okay with it. I don't know about you all. So I'll make a motion to approve municipal order number 2023-16.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Stephanie, if you could please call the roll.
Commissioner Fields,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Withrow,
Yes.
Mayor Plummer,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you all. That brings us to outside agencies. Ms. Bendian, did you want to kick this out?
Lauren had another meeting, so I'm reporting for her as well. So I'll start with what she's just sent me about the chamber. This Thursday at 2:15 at the Bourbon County Library, Congressman Andy Barr is meeting with community leaders for a roundtable discussion to discuss things that are happening in our area. This Friday at 4:30, there's ribbon cutting for All About Kentucky and Just Grazed. That's right before Art Walk starts. This Saturday at 11 o'clock, there's a ribbon cutting for Hometown Health and Hydration. April 20th at 10 o'clock, Retail Strategies Overview, Update, and Informative Discussion for Community Leaders. So that's her report from the chamber. For tourism, As we all know, Art Walk is this Friday, and we say this every time we have one, but this one does look like it's going to be the best one that we've had yet. There will be music and performances and, of course, art, all these. There's over 50 people that have signed up that we know of right now, and we know more will show up on Friday. Canoneros is having the Tim Talbert project like they did last time, and that was extremely well received by the community, so that will be fun. And Arthur Newberry has helped tremendously by putting together a map. If you all look on the Paris Downtown District page or the tourism page, there's a map of where everybody's located. Be sure, though, that you go inside the stores because artists are inside the stores. So, you know, I've had people say, well, I didn't see very many artists. And I'm like, well, did you go into so-and-so and so forth? And they're like, oh, no, I didn't realize that. So be sure to go inside. Rose and Thorn is having music. I believe All About Kentucky's having someone down there. The dance and cheer group from out in the shopping center, they're doing a performance. So there's all kinds of things happening. So everybody come and enjoy yourself. On Thursday, I will be in Frankfurt at something that I wish they had been doing 4 years ago when I started. It's a Kentucky Tourism Orientation Day. So it's a learning experience for everybody that's new in tourism, and I'm going as well. Tomorrow night, Carmela Connor, who is on the tourism board, is the chairman of a committee to put together a lodging network for Bourbon County. So we have invited all the people that have bed and breakfast, any kind of a lodging establishment in Bourbon County, to come to these meetings, let us know what they would like to see or have, whether it's information about transient room tax, whether it's information about insurance, anything that they would like to see. This meeting is just going to be a initial meeting to see what is needed, and we'll move on from there. Carmela, myself, Andrea will also be there. She's going to be one of our resources that will be there. I've put together resource lists for them, and we'll do some kind of exercise where they will put down all of their ideas, and then we'll go from there.
Where's that?
It's going to be held at the Bar House from 4 to 6. First Fridays, we have gotten I did get the street closure approved for all the First Fridays from May through August. So in the summer, we'll have First Fridays on the 1st of the month, and then Festival on 5th on 3rd Friday of the month. So 2 things to come downtown for. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Miss Andrea, would you like to go next?
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm gonna go over some meetings that are coming up, lots of them over the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow evening, the Board of Architectural Review is having a meeting. As you all know, there were several new appointees to the board. So that will be one of the first meetings in a few years that the board has gotten together. So that'll be here in the City Commission chambers at 6:30 on April the 12th. Anyone is invited. It's been advertised in the newspaper. We also have a West Side neighborhood meeting. That's next Monday. That's April 17th, and it will be at 6:30 at the Paris Independent School cafeteria. So those are a couple of the meetings to mention. We also have Board of Adjustments and Planning Commission, a lot of our regular meetings that happen each month. I did want to make you all aware that I am working on the report for FEMA for the National Flood Insurance Program Community Rating System. It is a report that's due every 5 years. So between now and next week, I'll be working to finalize that. And that's really some of the main things that are going on. We're just working like clockwork. So are there any questions for me?
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. That brings us to staff. Is there any staff reports? Ms. Cynthia?
I just wanted to mention on Friday, the 21st, so next Friday, we're having the City Employee Appreciation Lunch. We'll be having food brought in from Indies, and it'll be from 11 to 2 out at Legion Park. And we would welcome everyone to come by and enjoy some fellowship.
Ms. Stephanie? Brian?
So a couple weeks ago, Commissioner Gray gave me a nice little research project, and so I wanted to come back and report to you all. So Commissioner Withrow can fill me in, probably over the last 30 years, we've had properties flooded at various times. FEMA secured the property, if that's the better term, deeded it to the city, and so the city owns various empty parcels of land, which can never be built back on. So they are empty and always will be empty. But I think some adjoining landowners have had interest in getting title to that property. I think they understand exactly that there's nothing they can do with it other than just enjoy it as a side yard, backyard type of thing. So they approached the city about what's the process of them taking care of that property instead of the city taking care of that property, which seems like a win-win. Of course, we have to follow our statutes that deal with the disposal of property. So if it's the will of the commission, what I would propose is let's identify one of these parcels and kind of as a pilot project, we will do an RFP and accept bids for that, which would also include a proposed how the new acquirer of the property would intend to use it. We don't want there to be any misunderstanding. It's not going to be buildable. But if someone wants to propose to take over ownership of that, which obviously is going to mean take over maintenance of that, that seems like a win-win for everyone. So if it meets the will of the body, I'll prepare something more formal next time for one particular piece of property. We'll do the RFP. We'll see what the responses are, and then no commitment, obviously, by this body to do anything. But we'll see if we can get a little movement there.
I think it's a good idea. It gets that property, one, we don't have to maintain it, somebody else does, but right now they're not on the tax rolls for drawing any money. As a lot of things do, all roads lead to Andrea. So these are listed on their inventory that we took steps to remediate the flood problem, so she'll be involved in this too. So
Do we have a ballpark figure of how many pieces of property that are out there that are just there?
There's about 30, because we did 22 in 97, and then we had a couple of projects over the last five. So.
Okay.
I just thought it was a win-win, just thinking about the city mowing and upkeep, that we do. And we can't use it, they can't use it, why not let the neighbors take care of the maintenance on it, so, thank you, Brian. Sure. Yep.
Do we need a motion to?
No, we'll do it,
Move
yeah.
forward? Okay.
Sounds good.
Right, that's all I have.
Thank you, Brian.
Just quick update on budget. We had meetings with department heads last week to kind of go over most of the operating and some of their capital requests. We're going to hopefully finishing up the revenue kind of projections this week, and we'll get those uploaded into ClearGov. But just want to let you guys know we'll probably start sending out some feelers to get some workshops set up to start reviewing budgets with you guys. Pretty much all I have.
I just wanted to make note related to the two projects that we've received cleaner water funding for. those, we have brought forward a project resolution to establish those projects, and part of that is already authorized to do the RFP for that. Looking at the timeline of how we need to spend that money, you will see those RFPs published for engineering services come out shortly. So wanted to make you aware that that was moving forward. I continue to have some discussions at the county level about what our future plans as we look to establish some infrastructure out that way. But we'll probably be moving forward shortly on at least the engineering piece of that to keep things moving. As you all know, Mr. Albert West's birthday party is this weekend, so we want to thank Lydia for the hard work. She put together a nice proclamation, and that will be delivered to him at his birthday party. And then,
Thank you.
yes, thank you. Had mentioned a couple of items as we look forward into the summertime. Historically, the first meeting in July had been canceled, did not, based on high amounts of vacation taken. I'm not sure, wanted to get your all's consensus of if you believe that's something that, if you guys have plans for vacation, or we should keep the schedule as normal. Just looking forward as we head into those summer months, if you guys have any plans at this time.
I don't have any plans, but I think it has to do with the work. If things come in that we need to take care of, I think I'm for canceling it unless we need the meeting. Which we could come in and make it a special meeting if you have business to transact, I think.
So we will go ahead and amend the schedule for that. And then along those lines, as we look forward, an item that we've discussed historically was the Juneteenth holiday. So that is an item that we previously discussed bringing forward with our HR policy revision. We're not quite there with bringing that forward, but wanted to see if there was interest to continue that discussion at a future meeting, because we would have to look to, Brad is preparing a mid-year budget amendment, so we would take that into consideration as we adopt that, and that would have to come forward as well. So wanted to see if there was direction that there was interest in, and continue to evaluate that additional holiday. And if so, we'll move forward with getting that on the schedule for discussion and vote as well.
We've talked about doing this for a long time. We need to do it.
Okay, great, so that'll help
I
us
think that,
with,
that everybody was in favor of it for some time. We just want to think they've done.
great, so we will get that moving forward. That's all for me.
Okay, I have nothing.
Has the state given us any type of timeline as to when High Street will be finished? That is the biggest complaint. People stop you on the street.
I think it's like 2031.
So we don't get firm commitments, but we do make a monthly update on the website. So I'd encourage everybody, we started back now that the weather is warmer, meeting with the contractors monthly, and even through the winter months, we asked the head of the superintendent of the road crew for a monthly update, and we've been putting that on our website. So that's the best place to go for the latest information, but I anticipate it'll go into 2024. One of the things that we talked about was the repaving of Main Street. We know we have some big celebrations coming up next year, so we've communicated that to the people doing the paving and trying to be mindful of all of those events and the timing of that as well.
Thank you.
The Magnolia Trace. I'd like to see one of those folks come down and appear before us. With, they have their certain requests that they're wanting to make, and I think that needs to be public knowledge. And I think they need to be here so that we can ask questions as opposed to one-way communications back and forth. And, they're wanting to meet and speak with us while I can't really wheelie out there on my little scooter to, the construction site and meet with them. So I think it'd be fair to us as a body, to the public, for clarity, and for people to be able to ask questions, to have one or both of those folks appear before us. So we try to make that happen.
We will see if we can get that on schedule for the next meeting.
Yeah. Okay. And then I talked to you about the bricks that they're gonna do at the Secretariat Park. I think that we as a government body, that's gonna be a part of history, that park downtown, that maybe we might want to personally each chip in a percentage and get one of the larger bricks, with the commissioners, the mayor, and the city manager on there, if you're all interested in doing that, and
It's fine.
as opposed to using city funds, we'll just pay our percentage, each out of our own pocket, so.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let them know we wanna do that, so, that's all I have.
I've been having a little issue in my neighborhood, and I feel people's frustration with streets and roads, and back in, I think it was October, might have been earlier, AT&T cut our street, and it was taken care of yesterday, but the frustration of going back and forth and trying to find somebody to let them know, it was an open ditch all winter, and they didn't do anything, which, my question is, Brian, do we have a franchise agreement with AT&T?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Is that not
But
possible?
they would have been under the street
Well,
cut.
say, yeah, the street cut should be.
They have always been exempt from the street cut because they were all bail and it was just carried forward, but everybody else seems to be somewhat complying, and we have a contact to go through, and this was borderline ridiculous because it was AT&T, and historically, everything's been in the air, poles and lines. This was actually where they were running fiber optics under the road, and if it's happening, in my little neighborhood, I'm sure it's happening in other places too, that I just wonder, are they exempt from franchise, I guess, maybe?
Well,
statewide?
on that side, we need to look at that, but I, not to go back on you, but I don't know why they would be exempt from the new street code ordinance we did 3 years ago.
Yeah, that
Well,
would-
5. Well, it was in
It
2018.
named like, the old ordinance, I don't know whether that one, I think the language is still in there, exempted like 3 agencies from street cut.
Well, let's look and see.
Okay,
I thought we took that out. You would
It
remember better than I
it got
do.
taken care of, and somebody got hold of somebody, but to go from
Too
October,
long. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, let me look at that.
all right, that's all I have.
Are there any items to come before us? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in
Third.
favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you.
Enjoy.